Okay, let's go ahead and start with some more advanced exception handling. So public class try catch example. All right. Then public static void main string args. Okay. So some things need us to be able to always have exceptions. So for example, if we read in a file, say we'll import java.util.star and import java.io.star, then we'll be able to read from a file. Now let's say input equals new scanner, and then we'll say new file of something that does not exist .txt. All right. So if we were to compile it, yeah, I'll save it. Java example, save. All right. Then it doesn't know what it knows what scanner is, but unreported exception, file not found exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. Well, the simplest thing to do when you're not sure what's going on is to just throws, and then what exception is it exactly? It's the file not found exception. So file not found, copy and paste, and okay, everything's good. But here's the question. What does throws actually do? If we were to run this, or compile it, works great, we run it, and then it tells us that file not found, something that does not exist .txt, no such file or directory, and then it crashed the program. So throws essentially says, you know, I'm not going to handle this here. I'm going to handle it somewhere else. So for example, if we were to have another method, let's say create this method here, public static void another method. And then all this does is open this up. There we go. Another method. All right, and I didn't even spell another method right, so I'll call another method. There we go. And so if I try and compile that, it doesn't work. Unreported exception, file not found exception must be caught or declared. So I can do it here. I can have, okay, throws file not found exception. There we go. File that. There, not that bad. Okay, so what are we dealing with is when you use throws, you're simply kicking the can down the road. You're letting another method that calls your method handle it. Or in the case of main, you're saying, I'm going to let the Java virtual machine handle it. I don't know what's going on. I'll just, they can take care of it themselves. So throws, if you're not sure what to do, just have throws. And throws simply says, I'm kicking the can down the road. I'm letting my whoever's above me take care of it. So, okay, when I run this, it says that we have all these problems, and then it just cannot find the file. And then it crashes it. Do you really want to crash your program every time? Well, I don't. So I'm going to get rid of this throws exception. And I'm going to get rid of this throws exception. And then I'm going to compile it, and it doesn't compile. Okay, so this is where we introduce try catch. In things that cause exception, things that must be caught, we have to have a try catch. So try, and then we'll have that there. And so we have try, and we're basically saying try and do something. But, oh, wait, there's try without catch, finally, or resource declarations. Well, this means we have to have a catch here. So what are we catching? We're going to try and do something, but if it doesn't work, well, then we'll take care of the problem. We will catch the exception here. Well, in this case, we don't know what the exception is. It is And wow, look at all those errors. All just for the one thing. The file not found exception. And we'll just call it E or exception. Doesn't matter. And now it compiles. Cool. So what happens here? I'm going to do system out print line before exception, because it's not going to be able to find that file. I mean, I don't have that file anywhere. It was never created. So I'm going to say system out print line after exception. Okay, so if all works well, we'll see before exception, then this exception will be thrown, and then will this print out? Let's find out. Ooh, we just got before exception. And then in here, say system out print line. This is called when an exception, in this case, the file not found exception, takes place. All right. So compile that, works well. We'll run that. Here we go. Let's see this a little bit better. So before the exception, okay, it executed that. There was no problem. In this line, it couldn't find the something that does not exist.txt file, and so it threw a file not found exception, and so that's when it got caught. Know that when the exception happened on this line, right here, on this line, that everything after that was aborted. So the reason we have a try catch is we try and do things, but as soon as an exception happens that's caught here, then we have to abort and nothing else happens here. Here, there's a system out print line after the try catch. So you can see what happens there. Okay, so before exception was executed, for exception, the exception was thrown here, and so that was bad. This did not get executed, but instead it stopped executing this line, went to the catch, system out print line. This is called an exception. This is called when an exception. In this case, the blah 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 is run, and then after the try catch, we have after the try catch. So let's review. Try catches are when you have a potential problem and you have an exception, such like a checked exception, like when we're trying to open this file, and it has to be surrounded by a try catch, or it has to have throws. We can have one or the other. We don't have to have both. Now, what about if I have throws exception here? It's called throws file not found exception. Then I can get rid of all this other stuff, and I'll put it here in my main method. All right, make this pretty, tab that over, and bring all of this, there we go, into this other method. Boom, there we go. So what I've done is back here in another method, it doesn't deal with the file not found exception. It just tries to open it. And so since it doesn't have the opening the file surrounded by try catch, it just puts it in throws, saying I'm just gonna throw this thing, let whoever called another method take care of it. And that works because the main method has this another method in the try catch. And this should be exactly the same. So you can see this. Before exception, the exception will be thrown here. This line will not execute because it goes from here all the way over here to the catch. This will be run, and then system out print line will happen afterwards. Run that. There we go. Now, what if we don't have this in a try catch? What if we have the throws? Then I'll comment this out, comment that out, comment all of that out, and we put a throws file not found. Throws file not found exception here. And then, you know what, I'll put these back. Before exception and after exception, we want to know, will the after exception actually be run? And boom, has this big old nonsense, all this exception, file not found, that file does not exist. We have the before exception that was executed. This threw an exception. The main method didn't know what to do with it, so it threw it back to the Java virtual machine. When the Java virtual machine gets an exception, it stops execution. And so that's why we have try catches. So we can actually deal with the problem instead of letting somebody else handle it. There we go, and it keeps going. Yay! And so why would we have the try catch? It's so that we can gracefully take care of this instead of actually aborting